the 49ers have a very, very new high-profile fan. Another player, unfortunately, got injured this weekend somehow. And George Kittle wants a reunion with an old buddy. Is that the right thing? Steph Sanchez and I will talk about all that and more right after this. I'm Jason Aponte. That's Steph Sanchez. This is the Bully Ball Podcast on the Gold Standard Podcast Network, the only 49ers podcast that was absolutely enthralled by the Benito Bowl the entire way. Steph, how are you? Did you enjoy your show?
It was the only thing I enjoyed from my Sunday, to be fair, at least what I watched. And yeah, I mean, it did not disappoint. You know, I was at a watch party out here in Denver, and a lot of people left right after the Benito Bowl, as did I. So, I mean, that was really what everyone was excited about.
All right, can I ask you a question? Because there was a large discussion this weekend. Super Bowl parties, yay or nay? And how big is the Super Bowl party for it to be a yay or nay?
I mean, what are we counting as a Super Bowl party? Just any party that happens that weekend, or?
I mean, all right, let's say house party. Because you can be in very close proximity, right? Like you go to a house party, there's a mixed bag of people that you know, people that you don't know, perhaps family, stuff like that. You know, family you haven't seen in a while. Just, you know, the Super Bowl brings out casual observers, is where I'm going with this. So what do you think? Yay or nay with Super Bowl parties?
I don't like to be around too many casual viewers. But for this game that, quite frankly, I wasn't all that interested in, I think I was okay with it. I think I wanted a distraction from the fact that Seattle was playing in the Super Bowl. I think I just wanted time to go by a little faster just so we could get to the halftime show. So I was okay with it this time. I wanted to disassociate at different points, and so I wanted to be casual. Yeah, on Sunday, to be fair. So but in most cases, like if my team were playing, I'm locked in. Like I don't want to be having side conversations with anybody. I hate that. I always preferred usually to watch games by myself. But I get it. For the Super Bowl, usually you want some excitement around you. So as long as people are as into it as I am, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and I don't really get to watch football with my friends at all. You know, and that's the thing is it's cool to hang around people, but I find myself more and more annoyed when there's people that like don't really watch the games and stuff. Like and you know what? Look, I'll say this. You know, I was watching. Remember when Phillip Rivers came back against Seattle? Okay, I was watching that game with my brother, and my brother's like, "Oh, Seattle sucks. Who cares?" And I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like, and I don't want to be around people like that in the Super Bowl, like at the Super Bowl watching the game that are just like, oh, Seattle's defense isn't that good. I don't know what everybody's talking about. And I'll just look at you like disgusted. Like, why don't you know? Right. Like, so yeah. And if the 49ers are playing in the Super Bowl, I'm not watching that with anyone. Not a single soul. So, you know, for me, I like a close knit group to watch the Super Bowl with. People that I can trust. We all know ball. We're all, you know, we all have the same level of enthusiasm. So I thought that was, you know, the way to go. But yeah, I don't like overblown Super Bowl parties because I don't need Joe from accounting coming in and being like, well, who's Drake May? Is he any good? Shut up, man. Just, oh my God, you know. Chosen 1494 says, is Kyle forecasting his future by starting early as a TV analyst? Hey, Coach was smooth, man. Got to give him props on that. I like it.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's a very smart man, you know. There is more money in TV, as we know, but I think he's just fine being a head coach right now.
I definitely like his honesty where they were like, oh, how do you attack this offense? He goes, why the hell are you asking me? I haven't scored a touchdown against them in 2 weeks. I was just like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Good. You know what? Good on you, Kyle. Hey, maybe you got it because you know they're saying it online. So now you can't you take it away. It's like 8 Mile, right? Tell these people something that they don't already know about me, you know, and you just use it against them and everything. But I wanted to talk about the newest San Francisco 49er fan. His name is Benito. Steph, We had and I want to just say this really quickly about the halftime show. It was excellent. It was as a Puerto Rican man, I wish my grandparents were alive to see it. The storytelling from the sugarcane fields to where the blackouts happen all the time to where New York Puerto Ricans, where Steph, you've been up here, you've kind of experienced that vibe of it as well too. It was incredible, and it has something for everyone. And I think it just proved that music is universal, messages are universal, and you don't have to get hung up on the little stuff. And also, by the way, if you just wanted superficial stuff, there were a lot of beautiful women that were in the show, and that's what Steph and I were trying to tell you guys. It's like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, there's at least going to be that. Please just trust us when it comes to that. But yes, Bad Bunny reveals himself to be a 49ers fan. He was talking about the jersey that he wore, which says Ocasio on the back, was the name of his uncle. And he says his uncle was a big football fan. He just left too soon, and he was unable to get him to the Super Bowl. And he ended a long statement by saying, hopefully, one day the 49ers can win the Super Bowl again. Steph, if we needed any other reason to love this man, I mean, what is going on right now?
I couldn't even believe that was like a real quote. First, I heard about it first,
I
and
thought
then
it
I
was
was like,
Senso.
"That's yeah." I was like, "That's not real." Like, there's no way he shouted out the 49ers. This is a 49er fan making this up. But then I saw like someone else post it, reputable source, and I was like, "Oh, he did actually say this. He is a 49ers fan. It means something to him for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. He just like me for real." Like, yes, no, literally, that made me so happy. Uh, as a huge fan of Benito. I mean, that just made my day, honestly. And it's cool because like he got to do the halftime performance, at Levi Stadium. Fortunately, the 49ers were not playing there, but in any case, that just tells me that next time the 49ers are in the Super Bowl, he'll probably be there and cheering on the 49ers.
My goat, the hype is just
My
over,
goat.
over. Just over. It's just over the top right now. But in a more serious note, it wouldn't be a 49ers weekend of football without a 49er injury. And I'm not even trying to be funny. Keon White, unfortunately, was shot in an argument with Little Baby, Four Pockets leader, at a Super Bowl party. And, thank God he's okay. And, he'll be fine. It wasn't career threatening. It wasn't life threatening. But come on.
You can't
Like,
make this stuff
seriously?
up.
No, you really can't. Again, when it came across, I looked and I was like, God, yeah, you guys are trolling. Like, I was waiting for somebody to make a substation joke. I mean, there was plenty of those, but it was absolutely true stuff. Like, what the hell, man? That's all I had to say was, what the hell?
Well, I was like, my first reaction was, damn, like, how many players are going to get shot in San Francisco before, other like free agents are like, I can't possibly play there because look at how dangerous it is. Along with the electrical substation talk, you got this players shot per NFL roster. The 49ers have 3 because Brian Robinson, who didn't get shot while he was a 49er, but he did get shot as a rookie with the Commanders. We got 3 players who have been shot. I mean, that's very unfortunate. But in all seriousness, I mean, Lil Baby, what are the chances of that? Who's writing the script?
And Little Baby, Keon White is so much bigger than you.
Well, that's why he had to use a gun.
Well, he didn't shoot him. Someone did. And apparently, the gun goes off. Keon White gets hit in the foot. And the strippers proceed to rake up the ones and not even blink an eye. I thought we left this nonsense in 2025. Little Baby, I got my eye on you, dude. I really like your music, but if you're going to start messing up my team, on the one hand, we have Bad Bunny, who is trying to uplift the San Francisco 49ers with his beautiful message of love over hate. And hopefully his uncle, was there with him watching, from somewhere else. And then we have this. Little Baby, you're on the list, buddy. You're on the list, man. So, but Keon White, good after surgery. He's gonna be fine for the season. Just this team, never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. I mean, they couldn't even just go through the weekend. Like I forget who it was that said Well, the good news is that nobody got injured in the Super Bowl. And then literally right after, and he's like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Dude, why did you say that? Why would you say that?" But the offseason isn't even 24 hours old. I think we have a super chat here as well too, Rob, that we can get to. Renardo Green got benched against Seattle. 49ers request interview for Atlanta DB coach Bullocks, and 49ers part ways. Morris hires DC. Thoughts? Um, well, I think some of that was to satisfy the Rooney Rule, right? Like they had to do that as well too. And they didn't know what was going to happen. I just think that was more what's the word? I guess it was just more like a function of just them trying to get through the things that they had to do during the coaching. So I wouldn't look too far into it. I think that Bernardo Green thing is just like a kind of one and done thing, and it is what it is. Hopefully he's learned. But we have to talk about him, and that's a large part of what this show is going to be about, like when it comes to the show. But this entire weekend before, or the entire week at Media Week, the substation thing is just like it's got a life of its own. So now that's it. It doesn't matter whether we want to talk about it or not. It's got a life of its own. I'm not personally going to address it because whatever, I don't care. But that doesn't mean that everybody else isn't. It's got a life of its own. When the owner has to talk about it, it's done.
And he doesn't even want to talk about it, Jay. Like you could tell he's sick of these questions already. Like, and he's gonna keep getting them, unfortunately.
I will say this. George Kittle did say one of the only things that I've heard that have actually made sense and Diego's right, East Bay Chris, of course. It was. George Kittle actually said one of the only things that I felt like I was like, well, you know what? That's fair. And he said, I don't know the science, but if there's even a 1% chance that this could slow us down, shouldn't this be investigated? And I said, you know what? That sounds reasonable. That sounds logical. And I think that was the best way to think about it. It's like in Batman versus Superman, where Batman says, if there's even a 1% chance that Superman is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. Like, you can't wait for it to be a problem until it is. So that was the only thing that I will say about that. But George Kittle was talking about, first of all, Matt Barrows is saying that George Kittle is targeting week 1 following his Achilles injury in Philadelphia. Steph, I wouldn't doubt anything about George Kittle, especially when he was talking about how his father has torn Achilles and he's been helping him out. But I believe the word here that we should be focused in on is targeting, right. Meaning he wants to come back in week 1. Yeah. But Steph, how likely? Come on.
I was waiting, Jay, for you to make the joke of you want Rihanna's phone number, but that doesn't mean you're gonna get it. Like...
me and ASAP came to an agreement. I'm gonna stop DMing her.
Oh, good. Okay, all right. Glad that's been sorted. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing as Fred Warner. I think Fred Warner would have liked to come back and maybe like the NFC Championship game. Could he have feasibly maybe come back? I mean, yes. Would he have been at 100%? Probably not. Like, it's just one of those things of should they, right? They could probably, right? I mean, with the medical advancements these days and how these guys train, all the money they put into healing up and getting their bodies right after some of these injuries, it's quite remarkable. But I think there's no reason to risk anything for the like you need George Kittle available as much of the season as possible, and if you're going to potentially, if he's going to rush himself back for a week 1 return and maybe aggravate something, or I don't know, you just don't know what's going to happen. I rather take it slow. I love the ambition, yes. I love that he's going to be doing everything in his power to get himself back. That's important, but I just don't think he needs to rush it. I don't think, me as a fan, I'm not going to be holding my breath. I don't think the 49ers should be holding their breath. I think you still go through this offseason as if you might not have George Kittle for the beginning of it. And what's your plan in that case for who's going to start in his place? So yes, it'd be great. But I mean, also I'd be a little nervous about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's ambitious. I'm sure that's what, and the 49ers don't live in a perfect world. I think they live in the most imperfect world. So I think, I think everything should be taken with worst case scenario thoughts. And if you get something different, then you should be fine with that. But, other things were cool. the guys were all hanging back together at a party. I saw George Kittle hanging out with Trent and Debo, and they were smiling it up. And then George Kittle kind of left the door open for something with a comment. I think Rob has the video and the clip, so we can take a look.
My one message for Niners fans: hey, if a rebuild year got us 13 wins and a win in the wild card, that's pretty good. It's only going to get a little bit better from that. And all the boys are coming back again. And who knows, we might add some past friends.
Wow, who we talking?
I don't know. I hung out with Debo last night. That was fun.
You like that?
I love Debo. Are you kidding
You want
me?
him back on the Niners?
I love Debo. That's all. I love Debo.
We'll keep it at that.
So all right, before we get into the Debo thing, I thought it was really interesting for him to say rebuild year, because they all kind of knew that this season was going to be rebuild, reload, whatever it is that you kind of wanted to say, and they still ended up with 13 wins. So I think that was really interesting, because I think for the most part, fans on the outside, we look at it and we say, yeah, this season is like not a season where they feel like they're going to compete. But you don't think that guys in the building are feeling like that, or they're just like, nah, man, we're always ready to go. No. Like they understand the logistics of this stuff too. So I thought that was really interesting and honest as well too, Steph.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we figured that too. Like, especially for the veterans, it had to have been like a huge adjustment for them to have this stacked team on paper to just go to, all these rookies coming in. And I think you got to temper your expectations accordingly, right? And they did that. But as kind of George Kittle alluded to, like, you do have to feel good about the fact that you made it into the playoffs. You had 13 wins, even despite all those things. Like, yes, that is something to be proud of. And that is something to feel good about for the future, because you do look at it and you think to yourself, well, feasibly, we're getting better, this offseason as well. But so is everybody else. So if I may.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one that's allowed to improve.
Exactly. And if I may just jump into the Debo thing.
Trent Taylor and Debo Revenge Tour 8.0.
8.0 is crazy. Crazy.
So they all went on vacation, and it's Christian McCaffrey who had glowing things to say about Debo as well too. Like he said he loves him and everything. They all love them because they all went to war together. But it was like McCaffrey, Brock, Kittle, and then Trent Taylor's there, and I'm like, Polar Bear in Cincinnati, what are you doing there, guy? You're not a part of the team, man. Get him out of there.
He must be a really great friend. Just the best guy in the world, because he's definitely not the best football player. But in any case, the Debo thing, that's run its course. I have to imagine his conversation with Debo was probably with some alcohol involved, nostalgia, going over all the great times. Oh yeah, I'd love to have you back, man. Yeah, me too. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And George Kittle isn't calling any shots for who's coming in for the 49ers. Or maybe he is, because maybe that's why Trent Taylor got signed actually a couple years ago. But in any case, we saw how that went down. That didn't really amount to anything. I don't think the 49ers are looking back and looking to bring Debo back. I mean, you kind of made your bet and laid in it going to the Commanders. I think the 49ers were okay with making that decision as well. I don't think a Debo at this stage changes anything for the 49ers offense to make them any better.
Yeah, and Steph, the conversation that I have between drunken Debo and drunken Kittle is, if we played Seattle together, we would have took their asses down, and they'd be like, hell yeah, man, and they slam a drink and everything. Look, I think I agree with you. I don't want this, because I feel like we're not getting 2021 Debo, right? If we were getting that guy, right, back, that's something different, but you're not. And that's not really how you're going to beat Seattle and all these other teams right now with speed. But it does kind of lead me into this. Deebo Samuel's ending to his time has clouded the way that you remember Deebo overall and what he brought when he was effective. Just because at the end, he wasn't as effective. And I want to make sure that I'm very clear about that. 2021 is still Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, Deebo Samuel. Those three receivers that have had seasons that have completely taken over. I don't want to hear, these are seasons that these guys, every time the 49ers needed a play, it was Deebo Samuel. So I don't want to get that lost. Just because it didn't end the way that it was with that, and that was like a max out season for Debo. That season was special only because of Debo, basically, and that defense, right? Okay. But yes, this does feel like it's not going to happen, one, because of the way that it ended, right? The 49ers were kind of eager to give Debo his release and for him to go, and he left and everything, fine. But I think the concern is this an evolution or is this going back, right? Like, is this going backwards, right? And is this how you're going to, you need to start stretching, Seattle vertically. You can't go back to these tunnel screens and thinking that you're going to beat them with the speed and then like that's not the guy that you're getting. And this is the question that's on the screen. Do the 49ers need a Debo Samuel type player this offseason? Because lo and behold, mock draft season's flying. And I want to make sure I get his name right. Nick Baumgardner, who does great work. And I don't want you to yell at us. We're just telling you what his mock draft has. At 27, the 49ers are taking KC Concepcion from Texas A&M. And listen to his numbers and listen to his build. 5'11", 187, open field explosion. Might remind you of Debo Samuel. Player scheme fit. Steph, I'll let you answer this first. Do the 49ers need a younger Debo, like with a player like him? Which, by the way, if you've ever taken a reverse at all, ever in college, your comp is Debo Samuel, similar to any white receiver is, Cooper Kupp or, one of those guys. Do the 49ers need that type of player in their offense to function?
I don't think they do. And if the 49ers feel that way, I'd be a little disappointed because I think it would show just a stunted growth of this offense, right? If you feel like you need to go back to something that, made you tick back then. I think as the NFL does, the 49ers need to evolve. And I'll just say, and not trying to shit on this mock draft, right? I'm just saying that everyone takes the low-hanging fruit. People have continue to mock like a Debo type player to the 49ers for quite some time. It's just the easy thing to do. Like, oh, they liked this guy and he was great in their offense. So let's just, put this guy that's very similar. And I'll also say that all of the guys that have been, kind of coined as the next Debo have not been Debo because there's only one. Like, he's just such a unique player that goes beyond the skill set that he had in college, that he had in the NFL. Like, he's just, he was different, and I think that's the thing we got to remember as well. I'll also note something that Kyle Shanahan himself said that the 49ers would need to do in order to beat a team like Seattle. They have to run the ball. And yes, you do that with a player like Debo Samuel, but I don't want to keep banging this drum, but I think you do that with a good offensive line that's going to control the line of scrimmage basically and allow you to impose your will on the ground. And they couldn't really do that. There's no reason that with a running back as talented as Christian McCaffrey, you couldn't run the ball against Seattle. I mean, I understand Seattle's defense is as good as it is. I mean, it's a reason that they won the Super Bowl. But if you're going to get over that hump and if you're going to get over your own division here and Seattle's at the top, your solutions need to be centered around running the football if that's what you believe it takes to beat a team like Seattle. Because basically what he was saying is they're really comfortable just having the two safeties over the top. They're not allowing any explosives.
It's a blessing.
So you need to run the ball to keep them honest and bring those guys down a little bit. And so they respect the run. They don't. There's no reason for them to. And the 49ers run game has been stymied the last two times that they played them. So Kyle Shanahan knows this. So I don't know what that means in terms of what kind of offense or, what changes he makes going into next year to get over that. But I don't think it necessarily means a Debo Samuel type of player.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they need that at all. And by the way, I want to make sure that we make this clear. KC Concepcion is going to be a very good football player, I think. I think of all the people that have been labeled with the Debo label, he's the one that actually has a chance to be good at the next level and be good for years. It's not Laviska Shenault, right? Like that's not who like the comp guy would end up being, right? Like he's going to be somebody who I think is going to be a good football player. So I don't want that to be like, oh, you know, just because he's compared to Deebo Samuel that, oh, he's not going to be a good football player. I really think he is, but I also think the way that you know start running the football is you need guys who are going to be able to threaten Seattle down the field as well too. And you know, Jawan Jennings is not doing that. Kendrick Bourne's not doing that. Like, you know, Ricky Pearsall's one guy. You've got to find separators. You've got to find guys who can get themselves open outside, independent of Kyle Shanahan's scheme. Kyle Shanahan's scheme will help you out in other spots. But independently against man-on-man coverage, man coverage, you have to be able to win that way. Deebo was never that type of player. Although I want to say earlier on in his career, he was a little disrespected when it came to his route running. They just turned him into such a Swiss Army option that it wasn't necessarily, you know, used, right? But I think the way that you're going to start getting Seattle to, you know, fall back a little bit or you know, come up on the run is you've got to throw down, like down the field. And you've got to be able to get guys who can, you know, there's this guy that was in the building that would have been perfect to help this out. But you know, he's on his way out too. Like the 49ers receiver group is about to lose Jawan Jennings. I think he's going to be a New Orleans Saint. Brandon Ayuk's on the way out. It's going to be right now, like next year, legitimately. And Sky Moore's not even under contract right now. Legitimately, it's going to be like Ricky Pearsall, Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowing. Like, you've got a lot to do at wide receiver. A lot. You're not just going to take one guy and you're not just going to sign one guy. You have to sign a lot of guys. So I really just don't I don't see how it would just be there's no one fix, right? Like there's no one real like player that's out there that's a fix.
I agree. And that's very concerning, just the running down the list of wide receivers that they're going to have. I mean, it feels like they need a lot of different types of guys too, because yes, they need someone who could separate and or stretch the field. They need someone, like someone mentioned in the comments, like someone with yak. Like that's something they definitely missed, and I think would benefit them greatly. Like that's just I don't know what happened with that. Just the type of players that they have, more maybe somewhat slower guys or just possession guys. Not sure, but if they could get someone with a little more yard after the catch ability, then you have that other element of your game where
I forgot Demarcus Robinson. That's my fault.
Demarcus Robinson as well is going to be in the mix, but still, like that's still a concerning list, Jay. Like if Demarcus Robinson is like one of your top receivers, I mean, we're in trouble. You know what I mean?
And we're back to like, should we bring back Kendrick Bourne?
And people are like, yes, absolutely. Like, who else do we have? Well, we could do better, people. We could do better. Same thing with like Jawan Jennings. Like we have to stop looking at the past, like or just what you have, what you know. I promise there are better options out there, and that's what the 49ers need to find, right? And ideally, you do it while getting younger. But that also begs the question of the young wide receivers that they have on the roster. Some of the guys you just rattled off, like you, Ricky Pearsall, your Jacob Cowings, those guys were drafted to be contributors. But all we know is that they've been hurt quite a lot, or the Jacob Cowings case, he can't even get on the field. Also hurt a lot. So I don't know.
Is he real?
Is he a real person? Like he was just deleted from the game entirely, nowhere to be found. So
he's caught in a haunted substation.
yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like if they draft a wide receiver, I'm also like, do I hold my breath and assume that this guy is going to get on the field? Like we haven't seen that yet since Deebo. So
and even took him a few weeks.
It did. And that was with them having like damn near nobody else. So
right.
It's a concerning situation all around. I think the top target for wide receiver needs to come from free agency, honestly. But then the question is, how much are they willing to spend?
Well, they're not getting Alec Pierce. Like, just get that out of your head.
You put it in my head, Jay. You were like, Alec Pierce, great in this offense. Like
he would be. He would be if 31 other teams buried their head in the sand and didn't watch football at all. Like he would be perfect. But come on, man.
Yeah,
like you guys Yeah, you guys really think the 49ers are going to get into a bidding war and outbid somebody for Alec Pierce? Get out of here, man. He is going to get such a bag.
Yeah.
Like, the way that wide receivers get paid, you're about to watch Alec Pierce get, like, top 10 money. And you think the 49ers are going to go get that? No, man. That's not going to happen.
I don't.
But I will say this. Omar Cooper, Indiana Hoosiers. Elijah Surratt, Indiana Hoosiers. You know, like, there's guys, the 49ers are going to have to draft multiple guys. They're going to have to bring in people from free agency as well, too. So, yeah, the wide receiver room needs a lot of help. But I just don't think that this offense needs a Debo, like, that's not what they're, like, that feels like it's going backwards. It's not evolving, right? Like, you're watching, you just want to see that, you want to see the evolution, right? Now, before we get into the final topic, I know football season's over, but Sleeper is still around for you guys to use in different sports. You know, you can pick stats in basketball. You know, baseball is on its way, even if I don't know if that's a real sport at all, too. But get your picks right and you can win big. And for a limited time, new users will get a free $20 entry. Don't forget, if you use our promo code GSP, you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of details. Currently operational in 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Chris, Mr. 49er says Surratt is slow and Xavier Worthy's fast and he stinks. It's not about that. Keenan Allen isn't fast. I think Elijah Surratt is far more Keenan Allen than you're giving him credit for. But that's just me as a biased Hoosier fan. I just want everybody to stop with the speed thing because Xavier Worthy's fast and he stinks. I don't want to talk about speed all just as one thing. It has to be all of these things together. All of these things together to get themselves in and out of breaks. Does not matter if you're fast if you cannot run routes. Speed doesn't matter. If speed mattered, then go sign Usain Bolt. See if he can play football. See if he can run routes in and out and play football. Xavier Worthy doesn't play football fast. Just it's not 1-to-1. Just because Jacob Cowing is fast, we need to see him play football, right?
Yeah, the 49ers have brought in fast players. They haven't done anything with them.
Jordan Watkins is
They haven't
fast.
done anything.
Jordan Watkins is real fast, right? Come on, man. Danny Gray was fast.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to do something other than be fast.
Right. Like, you have to be able to, like, why do people swear that speed is how you win in this league? Like, there's guys that win with speed in accordance of running routes. There's guys that aren't fast. There's guys that are slow as molasses that, like, you know, like, doesn't, like, but see, Kyle doesn't play them, but we don't watch them. What if they're not good? What if they're not good?
But see, that's my thing of the 49ers, the speedy guys that the 49ers have drafted, because, I mean, that's an indictment on them. Like, if these guys aren't getting on the field, if all they have is speed and they're not good route runners, you chose that. You picked that. Like, pick someone who could do both, ideally, or could develop into both. I don't know.
Wide receiver isn't like a 1-for-1 thing. Like, the fastest guys aren't the best receivers. They're fast and can run routes. Right. Jamar Chase is fast. How do you know if they're not good if you don't play them? So just play them so they can just make mistakes. Like, all right, here's the point. And Tim Kawakami, he really was like nailing this home, and he was cooking. He said Kyle watches them. And if Kyle doesn't think they're ready, why do you think that they should play if they don't know where to stand, if they don't know how to run routes, if they're not going to be where they're supposed to be? Like, that's the thing. It's like we have this perception on the outside of like, oh, just play them, man. Just go ahead. Like, no. What if they're in practice and they're not good? And what are you supposed to do about that? Like, I don't understand that part of it. Kendrick Bourne didn't even know where to line up, Rob says. Rob's always going to get his shots off.
At a certain point, it just maybe it goes beyond the player. Maybe it goes beyond the draft process. Maybe it's a coaching thing or development thing, because it's not the first time that we've seen guys not know where to line up. Raymond McLeod also, like, when he stepped in, didn't know what the hell he was doing half the time, as well as Kendrick Bourne. And then these rookies have a hard time getting up to speed as well. So, like, at some point, and I don't know where to place the blame, I'm just saying I'm looking at all those scenarios as well, because this is now a theme and it goes beyond just the rookie receivers.
Yeah, and I'd rather play Watkins instead of Kendrick Bourne. Ideally, that sounds really nice. But if he's not doing the right things, practice. If he's not doing the right, you have to earn playing time, and especially as a wide receiver in Kyle's offense, you have to earn it. Like, he drafted Debo Samuel, was in love with him at the Senior Bowl. It took him weeks before they finally integrated him in. Remember, Marquise Goodwin was playing ahead of him earlier in 2019. Brandon Ayuk, how long did it take all that to come together? So you got to earn it, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's just because they drafted you doesn't mean you have a rite of passage. Like, even like Ricky Pearsall, obviously was set back with the shooting, but
Damn.
yeah, I just
stop drafting wide receivers. Maybe, like, I don't know. It takes so long for them to get going, if they even get going in this offense. It's just like by the time they have like their best season, it's time to pay them, and then they've had one good year, and it's like, okay, what do you do?
Well, I mean, the 49ers could just go to like an all tight end offense, an all running back offense, all offensive linemen, right? Let's
49ers fans' dream right there.
Yeah. Well, the entire draft should be, lineman, right? But yeah, I mean, if we're talking about evolutions, maybe, the evolution is 0 wide receiver. Might be a new one. Kyle might be cooking something there with that. But I wanted to point to this before we get, this should be like probably the way that we wrap the show up. But this offseason, I think, is really important for this reason. And this is the one thing the 49ers have to do. The old guard is aging out, okay? Trent, Christian, George, Juszczyk, Kittle, okay? Those are your guys that are aging out altogether, because Fred Warner's not aging out. I'm talking about your cornerstone players, your cornerstone football players. These guys are aging out. These are the guys that are on the way out of the door. Fred Warner's not on the way out of the door. Diamador Lenoir's not on the way out of the door. Brock Purdy's not on the way out of the door. I would say that those are your 3 new cornerstone guys that you're moving into this next era with. This offseason has to be centered on who the other cornerstone guys are. Whether that's somebody in this draft, whether that's Mykel Williams from last draft, whether that's Upton Stout from last draft, whether that's somebody in this offseason that you find and you bring in. The 49ers have to figure out their new guard, because their old guard is on their way out. And this offseason is going to be imperative. Mykel, if you're that guy at 11, cool. Let's get you there to be a cornerstone guy. It'll be Bosa, Warner, Lenoir, and Brock. Those are your 4 guys now moving forward. Who are going to be the other guys that fill out this team as cornerstone guys?
I'm looking at D. Winters, and I know, we talked about Fred being a cornerstone guy, but I think D. Winters could be, a leader as well, as long as he could, stay healthy and be available. And then hopefully they draft more guys. Like, I don't necessarily think a lot of the cornerstone guys might be on the roster currently.
No, they're not.
That we know of, right?
It got to be Mykel, Collins, CJ West, right? Who are going to be the guys that change with Brock and Lenoir and Warner and Bosa? Like, who are going to be those guys that lead this team moving forward? Right? Is it going to be Pearsall? They have to figure out who this new guard of right. These are our dudes. Who are the dudes on this team moving forward?
I think Alfred Collins and CJ West towards the end of the season, just the way they closed it out, look like guys who are going to be stalwarts on that defensive line, right? Those are going to be your big guys. And so their development throughout the year was really encouraging to me. I think, they'll be leaders of that defensive line in addition to, Nick Bosa. It's great to have more than one, leader on the defensive line. That makes me feel good about, possibly the future. And I'd say Upton Stout too, just like the growth he showed throughout the year. I think he's going to be pretty good. And yeah, aside from that, I really not a lot of names inspire confidence as much. Or there's always someone who's going to surprise you in year 2, I think. But just based on maybe what I saw in in year one from some of those guys, or just guys that maybe didn't really get an opportunity. Maybe they're on the practice squad right now. I don't know. But right now, I would say those three: Upton Stout, Collins, CJ West. Not too many on the offensive side, honestly. I mean, I don't know about Ricky Pearsall. Like, if he can stay healthy, yeah. But like, I don't
even know if we have to say that anymore. I think we just know that. We don't have to say if he stays healthy.
Yeah, like, and that's a big if, right? So I don't know. Maybe Tungus, he's likable, but
no. Jesus Christ, Tungus.
Respect Tungus, pal.
Okay, man. Cornerstone tight end taking over for George Kittle. Jake Tungus. But running back. Yeah, right. Running back, right? Christian McCaffrey, thank you for this season. That was a run, but how much longer? Kyle Juszczyk, how much longer? George, you want to be back week 1? I like it. How much longer? Trent, I feel you. You played well this year. How much longer? And I'm talking about the guys that I'm naming too. Like, this is the thing, right? You're like, oh, D Winters could be a leader. I'm not talking about leaders. I'm talking about the best at their position, the best at their position, the best at their position, the best at their
Then I don't know.
Exactly. That's who are going, like, what is this going to look like? This group of Bosa, Warner, Kittle, Williams, McCaffrey, and Trent. What does this look like moving forward? What does it look like moving forward when they're out the door? Who's next? Do you have guys that are going to be at that level? Because you need guys at that level now, because everyone else is stepping it up. And that's what I mean. It's got to be Michael. It's got to be whoever you get in this draft. It's got to be somebody from the free agency. Like, the 49ers have to start shifting to the new guard. And who is it? I don't know, man. And that's the part.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, last season's draft was part of that. Like, you mentioned Michael, right? Like, he needs to develop into that. And that's still a question mark. Like, we don't know. Talking about Collins and what, like, we don't know. And to be fair, for a couple of the guys that we're talking about now that they drafted, I'm talking about like someone like George Kittle. Bosa was drafted very high, so I think we kind of knew where that was going. But someone like Kittle, 5th round pick, like, it took some time before we knew that he was going to be,
read this one,
top of the Strawberry React says last year was looking like Mustafa and Green. This year, not so much. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it changes so quickly from one year to the next. Like, you just can't make any assumptions. And that's tough from the 49ers standpoint. Like, I don't because you're kind of banking on those guys making a second year leap into developing. You base your offseason and draft plans on that, right? And then they don't work out, and suddenly you have twice as many needs going into this season as you did last. Like, it doesn't always feel I think encouraging. But yeah, they kind of have to build it the same way they did the last group, which was a combination of drafting really freaking well and going out in free agency and getting who the hell you wanted, being aggressive in the trade market, getting the Christian McCaffrey type of talent, getting a Trent Williams type of talent. And we look at that and we're like, there's no way they could do that again. Well, the Trent Williams thing, yeah, that, I don't know. Going from Staley to Trent, I don't know if you could do that again, like, honestly.
Right.
But if they have any chance, like, you have to at some point be aggressive. I understand that right now, or last year at least, they didn't feel like they were in a space to do that. But at some point, they need to do that again if they want to have those, cornerstone guys again.
Yeah, and I don't think that I'm asking the 49ers to have the best linebacker in football, the best tight end, the best left tackle, right? Like, the offensive player of the year, like, year in, year out, right? Like, I'm not, but I'm just saying the group that carries this San Francisco 49ers team now is so strong that whenever it is that they are not here, it is going to be really hard to duplicate. And that can be something that is hard to bounce back from. And I think that just speaks to how well they've built this team. I have confidence that this team can build this team back to that level. Like, again, that Trent deal that came out of nowhere. Staley held the retirement back for that. perfect set of circumstances and everything as well too. I don't know how you go from a Hall of Famer left tackle to a Hall of Famer left tackle. Almost impossible. And then anybody that comes in for Trent now is going to be a downgrade, right? Because I think he's the best in the world and he's the best of all time. With Kittle, what are you going to do? Do you do it in the draft? Like, this is the thing is the 49ers have to replace not just guys that are very good. They're the best at their position, most of them, some of them, right? And now it's most likely moving forward going to be Brock, Warner, Bosa, Lenore. Those are your 4 guys that are going to be your stalwarts. And then hopefully Michael and hopefully Collins and hopefully West and whoever they draft. And, they're right now this transitioning period into the old guard, into the new guard, it doesn't feel great. And then, just based on their age and everything as well, too, it's just how much of that heavy lifting those guys do for the 49ers, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how we talked about, and I'm glad that Kittle brought up the rebuilding thing. We talked about kind of like transition period and what this is going to look like. Yeah, the transition period is already like starting right now at this point. Yeah, Trent's back. Thank you. Yeah, but we got to figure this out, pretty soon because, football, best laid plans of mice and men. You're like, oh, Trent's like, oh, I could be back for like 2-3 years. Bro, I mean, if you do, I wouldn't be shocked because you're doing things that I've never seen anybody do at your position. But, this got to be like, man, this just feels uneasy right now. This draft and this offseason is very, very important right now.
It has felt that way for for some time now because I think some of the players we're mentioning, it's like, especially Trent, we've known that's coming down the pike at some point, but then every draft, it doesn't seem like the 49ers know. Like it's almost like they're banking on what Trent has told them, which I'm gonna play the next 3.
Well, at least he said it early this time.
Yeah, he did. So he'll be back next year. And maybe they're the type of team that's like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Like maybe they're literally just waiting till the season he retires to then draft his replacement or to then trade for somebody. But that's risky too. They like to develop their offensive linemen. And I don't know. that one makes me the most nervous, I think. And also the running back thing, because Kyle Shanahan, like the running backs that Kyle Shanahan has brought in, I'm shaking my head for the audio listeners. I'm shaking my head loudly. Because, I don't have a lot of faith in some of the guys they brought in.
I hate that when I call draft picks for the 49ers, they end up being guys like Isaac Guerendo and Jacob Cowing. And I'm just like, damn it, man. Like, why did I call those picks? Like, oh, they're the guys that like never see the field or anything like that. The Curtis Rourke pick, I think that is a reason why the 49ers, I do think, this is kind of transitioning to Mac Jones a little bit too. And, we can talk about the offseason. I do think the 49ers want to keep Mac Jones, but I do think somebody's going to come along and say, here's a 2nd-round pick for Mac Jones. And they're going to be like, all right, well, we got to take it.
I think it's smart for them to act like they want to keep Mac Jones and know that they're trading Mac Jones because they need these picks in the worst way. And I've been saying I don't think a second is out of the realm of possibility.
Nope. I think Minnesota wants to send it. They're very keen to send it. Look, JJ McCarthy, your time is up already. Your time is up. And it's less about what they were doing in the offseason to try and get away from JJ McCarthy to did you hear the way the Vikings players were talking all media week about Sam Darnold and about the quarterback position and what they're like, Justin Jefferson, do you think you're the best wide receiver in football? He goes, of course I do. He goes, just because, the offense was broken and guys weren't getting me the football. I'm like, yo, did he just say that like out loud? And Aaron Jones is like, yeah, I don't know how you have a guy like Sam Darnold and the whole team's behind him and then you let him walk. I'm like, yo, you guys are like, you're saying the quiet part really, really loud, like so loud. Yeah, Minnesota, they're gonna do something, right? And they already wanted Mac.
Not happy.
No, they're not, and they already wanted Mac. That's why they're not getting rid of Justin Jefferson because they're gonna get him a quarterback, right? And then you look at the list of guys that are gonna be available, right? Malik Willis is probably going to get himself a nice little opportunity here because he certainly has played himself into that. Like Zach Wilson, Anthony Richardson, like these names are uninspiring. Mac Jones has done enough to put himself right there back on the map as well too. I do think Minnesota is going to be all in on that as well too, and I wouldn't mind that as well.
Yeah, I think it gets done at some point. So they need it. Hopefully, like maybe it's a second or maybe it's like a couple picks, but I don't think they should turn it down necessarily.
No. Take a second, do a pick swap. In what's the round that they're trashing? The third. Do a pick swap in the third so they can draft the running back. Instead of the 49ers, and boom, here we go. So it's really just right now the offseason is just really going to be about like what's this next group going to look like? How do you fill this roster out? Right? Like you look at this team and you hear George Kittle say, "Hey, it was really good what we did last year, and it's only going to get better." George, you might not be playing week 1. We don't know like what's the extent of like how these guys are going to be developing, right? Like what's this defense going to look like? So I like that thinking, and they won 12 games and finished in third place or second place, right? Or yeah, it was third because of the Seattle loss, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So this division is not going to get any easier, and Matthew Stafford, as long as he plays football, is going to give the Rams a chance. And like that's the thing is like you're looking around and like you said, sure, the 49ers are going to improve. So is everyone else. And it feels like everybody else is transitioned. Like Seattle, and I'm not glazing them because I was sick of the glazing. Like the last episode that I did before I took my hiatus with Rob, it was called the glazing stops now because I was just tired of it, right? But the plan and the way that they turned that team around very quickly, and they didn't really turn it over. Like again, like I'm going to say this over and over and over. It's not like Seattle was a 3-win team when Mike McDonald got him. So I don't want to hear this anymore about like, oh my God, Mike McDonald. Bro, they had one losing season since 2016 or 2012 or something like that. Something crazy, something insane under Pete Carroll. And they won 10 games the first year. They drafted well. Then they drafted well again. Then they drafted well again. They hit in 3 straight drafts, and now look. And that's the part that you really got to look at, where the 49ers have to really try to compete, because it is there, but the Seattle had a template to be able to do all that stuff. John Schneider deserves a ton of credit because he smashed 3 straight drafts. He drafted Super Bowl MVP, Rick Willen, Witherspoon, Eamon Gray Zabel. When you hit on all those guys, and then you bring in Ernest Jones, you bring in DeMarcus Lawrence, when you hit on all those guys and you fill it out with the free agency, that's the team that you get. And then you have the coach, all that stuff falls into place. Seattle's plan has to be kind of studied, but it really just boils down to draft really good football players, Steph. And I don't know if you can just list Seattle's plan one for one.
Yeah, and part of it too was they were okay with parting with certain guys in order to get more draft capital. And I know the 49ers did that last year, but I think they probably gonna have to do it again. Might go beyond even Mac Jones, right? So we'll see where that takes them. But it's not just about the draft picks; it's about actually nailing those picks, and hopefully the 49ers could do that again, because it's been hit or miss for them.
For sure. All right, I think this is a good show back. It was good to see you, Steph. Did you enjoy the Senior Bowl?
I did. It was a great time. Had some great barbecue out there and some good players. A different format, Panini's out there running it now, so they changed a few
Not
things.
Reese's.
Not Reese's. But it was good. It was good to see some of those guys, and excited for the draft.
You stay for the game?
Hell no.
Yeah, I never stay for the game.
No one ever stays for the game. And everyone who does is like, man, I regret that so much.
Well, the last time that I stayed for the game, Trey McBride almost killed me on the sidelines. That you remember? I don't know if you remember that year. He scores the touchdown, and I'm there like filming him, and he's like running straight to me, and I had to like get off the side or whatever. I'll show you or whatever.
That's a sick clip to have, though.
Yeah, I guess, but I was like, all right, this is it, bro. Like I would always get out the Saturday of. I mean, plus you know how Senior Bowl week is you're at the practices, and then you're out all night and everything as well too. So, one last thing, and we can wrap this up, and we can finish it up with our newest 49ers fan, the young GOAT, Benito. What was your favorite song moment from the halftime show?
Oh, that's tough. My favorite song right now is Eu, but I got really excited when he had Saferia for a little bit. Because that
Look.
might be my favorite Bad Bunny
Look.
song ever. Oh, and
Look.
Jessica Alba. It's Rob's.
Jessica Alba. That's what I'm telling you. Like Rob's like, I don't understand a word that's going on here. Like I was talking to Jared, and Jared's like, he's like, dude, he was like, why am I gonna watch this? I'm like, Jared, I was like, just trust me, man. I'm like, just trust me. I was like, just watch the damn show. And I was like, I promise you, there's something there for you. And then finally, he goes on his podcast, and he was like, hey, man, that was really cool. He was like, good music, good vibes, and he was like a bunch of beautiful women. I was like, duh. I was like, that's what I was saying on Twitter. I was like, it's very clear the amount of people that haven't been in these Latin clubs when these songs are played that just don't understand that Bad Bunny brings the baddies out. And that was pretty fun too. But there's too many for me to name, but it was really hard to watch it without like at least sometimes like my eyes filled with water, just because of the representation. Again, like I wish my grandparents were alive. Like my grandfather before he passed, his wife owns the land now in Ponce, but Benito telling the stories about the sugar canes and how the colonizers came and they took that over, and how the blackouts, that's him standing on top of the things, and how he's talking about, what the island still goes through, that there's rolling blackouts still. It was the combination of fun storytelling, all those things. There was something for everybody, man. But amazing show. Basically, it just wasn't what so many people were worried it was going to be. It was just a good time. And I think that was the best part about it. It was just really a good time. And that's generally what I'm always trying to say over and over and over again when we were talking about this halftime show. Is like, bro, it's a vibe. And it's always been a vibe. Yes. When he played, even when his political songs go off, those are bops. I don't know how he does it. He's talking about some real shit. But they're bops, man. There's bops, man. It's great. That'll do it for this episode of Bully Ball on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Shout out to Benito. He's on the bandwagon. Welcome to pain. He knows though, but he knows the pain, I guess, then, because he didn't just become a 49ers fan. Thank you, Steph, for joining me. Again, guys, subscribe to the Gold Standard Podcast YouTube channel or wherever you get your audio podcasts. Make sure you follow Steph on Twitter at Steph49K. A bunch of draft content. Follow me at Jason Aponte2103. Steph, good to see you. I'm going to go lay down. This was a tough one. We're pushing through injuries here.
Peace.
But, yeah, for Steph and Jay, we're out of here. Peace. Yeah, see, we're doing bad. We're doing bad here.